Okay, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Q&A with Andrew Spirit. We've been, I think, week number 5. So Sunday sessions are for your Q&A, information sharing, thought exchange. So if you have any questions about spiritual development, spirit guides, angels, psychic mediums, just post your questions in the comments, and I will do my best to answer as many as I can. And if there happens to be a particular topic or subject that I can't help you with, I have a lot of friends and healers and mediums that probably will be able to help you. So I'd be happy to get the information from them or put you directly in touch with them. And yeah, so basically I'll be online for a while and just see what the attendance is like and how many questions we get, what comes in. So while we wait, I'll just share with you that for those of you who don't know, I do lives on Thursdays on Facebook, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And those are psychic messages from Spirit. And Sundays, there isn't a particular set time that I can give you for the lives because Sundays are kind of more all over the map, depending on where I am and what I'm doing. But it's generally somewhere between the later afternoon and the early evening on Sundays. So feel free to subscribe, and I believe it should give you notifications. And if you would like to find my Facebook page, just Google or just search on Facebook, Medium Blessings - Andrew Spirit. And I will actually just post my website in the comments while we're waiting. There are links from my website to my Facebook page as well. So there you go. I've just posted it. And tonight we're just going to see what the topics of interest are. So any questions you have with regards to spiritual development, tools of divination. There are a couple of exceptions that I don't use myself, like tarot and crystals. But for the most part, I hope to answer just about all of the questions you may have. So post away. Let's see who is with us. Okay, we've got a few people tuning in. Joanne, you're back. Nice to see you. And hi to Shilpi and Charlene. So if you can't think of anything right now, if you think of any questions during the week, try and make a point of noting them down. So the next time you join in, we can share information and answer some questions. So like I said, just send me your topics of interest, and I'll do my best to share what I can, what I know. Okay, let's see. Okay, I thought there was a question earlier on, but okay. So tonight we will cover just about any topic I can help you with the exception of psychic messages. I'm not channeling messages, but I'll do whatever else I can to help. So I've just seen a message coming from Susie. Okay, I'm not sure what your question's relating to, but Susie, I'm not channeling messages from spirit or departed loved ones. This is just Q&A on basically spiritual development topics, guides, spirits, angels, and whatever other areas I can help you with. So I'm not sure if you were asking about connecting psychically, but if that's the case, please join us on Tuesday. Sorry, not Tuesdays. Thursdays on Facebook Live. Those are psychic messages live every Thursday. But if you had a particular question, feel free to post. Joanne, I see you've got a question about familiarity. Do I have with elementals? Okay, so elementals I typically don't connect with very often, but once in a while they do come through in readings. So I have connected a number of times with, they basically look like fairies, very much like Tinkerbell. The odd occasion I've connected with some fairies, the odd elf or gnome. It's rare, but it has happened. Sometimes they come through because they also have valuable insights, and they're also archetypes energy. So they do like to come and assist and share. From what I do know, the little bit I do know about them is they are normally responsible for caring and spending time in the woodlands, the forests, amongst the trees, the flowers. So elementals, basically nature beings. I actually have a friend who I think is, I almost want to say, I want to call her like a, and if you've heard the term, an elf or elfin, like a kind of, in some way she's connected to, or maybe she even was one before this incarnation. I don't know much more about that, Joanne, unfortunately, but if you want to probe into a bit more, did you have a specific question about elves and elementals? All I know is they can be very helpful as guides, and they are connected with and very much into protecting the energy around nature, woods, trees, forests, the flowers, the plants. That's pretty much my understanding of them. So if you want to drill down a bit further, if you have a specific question, I don't know if that helped you much, but that's my experience with them anyway. Okay, and while so I'm just going to go to the next question for now. To Susie's question, if spirit knows something, why can't they warn us about dangers or good things to come? So depending on what if you've ever heard of the term life contract or your soul contract, it's like a very, very detailed blueprint of all the experiences that your soul wishes to have in the physical world through you as a human. Basically, spirit is primarily concerned with your soul development, not necessarily your physical body, and not always concerned with keeping you comfortable, safe, healthy, and all of that. When spirit comes, incarnates into a body, they want a whole range of experiences ranging from most pleasant to most unpleasant. They don't have preferences. They don't distinguish between good or bad or right and wrong. To them, it's just, think of it like fruit. I like to use the analogy, a bag of pears, apples, and bananas. One of the fruit would represent good things. The next fruit would represent bad things. And the third one would be neutral things. So nobody knows which fruit represents good, which bad, and which is neutral. The spirit just wants a bit of everything. So there's your bag of fruit, in other words. And if the spirit or if the soul is meant to experience something, a thing, a lesson, an incident, whether it's hurtful or not, whether it's painful or not, that's not the point. The spirit wants that experience. So if you are meant to, say, be involved in an accident or lose a limb or something like that, spirit's not going to prevent you from experiencing that. It's going to need to go through that experience. Same goes with positive things. If you're not meant to get the job or the outcome or the positive experience you're desiring, spirit will block you from that particular thing. So your gatekeeper, which is your main guide from birth till death, will literally, think of it as like a boom gate, a toll gate. Whatever is part of your contract and comes towards you in energetic form and wants to manifest, if it's part of your soul growth and your lessons, your gatekeeper is going to open the boom gate and say, come on in. It's not going to analyze and judge whether it's comfortable or not, or whether it's going to be painful or not. Totally irrelevant. If you're meant to have an experience, you will have it, no matter how you judge it or what value you place on it. So hope that answers your question, Susie. If not, just let me know and we can dig in a bit more. Or you may have a question after hearing that explanation. Sometimes when you, I've often found when you ask some questions and you get some answers, that can often lead to more questions. So feel free to add on to that if you feel the need to. unless it was enough for you and was helpful enough. Shilpa's question, are dead parents guides and angels? So yes, deceased loved ones, whether they're parents, siblings, or whatever, can definitely come and serve as guides to us from the other side. It's quite common. They don't have to be in physical form to be of assistance to you. So that does happen. How to connect with them? It's the same as connecting with whether they're your departed loved ones or angels or spirit guides. Meditation is the best way to do that. So if you can practice a little bit of meditation every day, it doesn't have to be long. It's not about duration. It's about consistency. Find a meditation that works for you. There's many, many different ways. And just set the intention. Invite your guides or your loved ones to come in and connect with you. Results will vary individually because we're all on a different vibration. But ideally, you have to be in a space where you are undisturbed, where you're not distracted, where it's peaceful and it's quiet, and you're able to block out the sensory distractions so you can connect with your higher self. So meditation is by far the most powerful tool, in my opinion, to do that. And you just have to start a dialogue. It's kind of like you're building a friendship, except it's just telepathic. So that's how you learn to connect with guides. You can ask them to show you a sign or an image or a symbol, just to know, so you can establish like a key code or something like that. So every time you sense or feel or see that symbol, you know who you're dealing with. It's like building a language together. They use a universal language, which is energy. And then we have to try and figure out what it means in our terms, in terms of words and mental understanding. So I hope that answers your question, Shilpi. Joanne, with regards to how do you tap in, like I was just saying, it doesn't matter what kind of guide it is. Energy is energy. Everything is energy. So your intention is what takes care of business. So intention is everything. There are many different ways to get to the same thing. For example, whether you're saging a house or smudging, whatever ritual you use, there's not only one way. There's lots of different ways. Your intention is what makes it work or not. If your intention is right, that's all you need. The ritual doesn't have to be done to perfection. You don't have to pronounce the guides and angels' names perfectly. Your intention is what makes things happen. So all you need is good intention. And if you're coming from the right heart space and you have good intentions, it doesn't matter how imperfect the ritual is, it'll work. Okay. Let's see. What other questions do you have? Let's see. And another thing is, so the reason guides and elementals and so forth come to us and appear in the way they do is they do their best to appear in a form that we will appreciate and respond to. So if you, for example, grew up in India or the East, you wouldn't typically see like a Tinkerbell fairy or an elf. You'd probably see something that's more in relation to the cultural tradition or belief of the Indian people. If anything, you might see one of their deities or gods appear in that shape or form. If you were raised Catholic or Christian, you'd probably be more likely to be more receptive to an angel being, a being appearing like an angel with wings. It has human characteristics, but a beautiful big pair of wings and a lot of light around it. They do that for our benefit. If guides and spirit guides just appear to us as an orb of light, a ball of energy, we probably wouldn't pay as much attention. We'd think, okay, it's a nice shiny light. I don't really relate because I'm a human and that's just a beam of light. So it might not work as well. So for our benefit, they create a form that they believe we would be more receptive to paying attention to. So that's how they determine, first of all, how they're going to appear to you. And then secondly, depending on what you need to learn or receive from them, they will appear to you. For example, if it's related to herbal medicines, things like that, it might be a shaman. If it's a Reiki healer, you might get someone that looks like say, a Japanese Reiki healer or something similar. They just try and come through in a shape or form that is most receptive to you. So that's why they choose to manifest the way they do. So it's not really important what they look like or what their names are. It's just getting to know their vibration and what they feel, and focusing more on the message and the vibration rather than what they look like. They just do it for our benefit because they need to get our attention, and it's not easy to get a human being's attention. So just thought I'd share that as well. And for those of you jumping on now, Q&A session. So you're welcome to post your questions. If you have anything else related to energy, psychic mediums, how they work, the clairs, some of the clairvoyance abilities. If you have abilities yourself, I guess I should mention I also do one-on-one mentoring. So I love to teach classes and mentor people as well, especially people who have gifts and abilities, but they're just not sure how to manage the energy and why they have it and what to do with it. Not everybody has the benefit of a mentor or knows other people who they can share with that won't judge them or think they are, of unsound mind. So if you have certain abilities or are wondering about certain things, I'd say just look at it as a gift. A lot of people think that they have mental issues because they're experiencing things, but it's usually just a gift. Everybody has psychic abilities, in other words, intuition. I like to just use those two words interchangeably, intuition, psychic. They're kind of close. It's just we're not used to practicing it. We weren't taught, and the majority of the population is not really very, very receptive and open to it enough yet. So let's see. Charlene's question, not sure if I have guides. What do you feel? Okay, so Charlene, every single human being has a bunch of guides. Everyone has one main guide that's with you from the day you're physically born until the day you physically die. That's called your gatekeeper or doorkeeper. That's like your traffic control. That guide determines what energies and experiences may reach you and which ones may not. Then along the way, you also have other guides that stay with you short-term, long-term, something in between. And as you evolve and learn your lessons, you get upgrades. You get higher guides with more complex lessons and teachings. So everybody has them. It's just a lot of us are not trained or accustomed to hearing them or connecting with them. So it's just something that we can learn from through practice. It's the same as training a physical muscle in the gym. Practice and consistency makes it easier. And yes, we're not all on the same level. So some people are more open receptive than others, but everybody can do the basically learn how to meditate and connect to spirit. It requires your effort and attention. Okay. So, we live in a busy world, and most people choose to just focus on the physical environment and working, eating, sleeping, surviving. But if you are not just wanting, but also if you're willing to put in the time and energy and effort, you can develop your extrasensory gifts as well. Like I said, it's because the effort is not always easy. So we all have a higher self. On a soul level, every single human being is equal. Even those that are what we would call retarded or have Down syndrome or seem to be inferior, every soul is equal, no matter what. So you all have a spark of the divine or God or source within you anyway. So your soul is indestructible. It never expires. It's just the physical bodies that we go through that are temporary, short-term. Okay. And if you're wanting to get more specific with which of your guides or angels you're talking to, you can sit down and during meditation, ask them to show you a form or connect with you in a way you can recognize so you can become familiar with them. It could take a while. I can't say how long because everybody's different. Again, it just comes down to how much time do you want to give it. But the most important thing to focus on is the messages you're getting and the signs, not necessarily the name of the angel or what he or she looks like. Some guides choose to never reveal their appearance or their name Some give you a feeling or sensation. Some will give you an image or a form, but it's not the most important thing. If you can learn to recognize and interpret messages, that's by far the only and most important thing you need to do. Okay, Susie was asking about, do we become gatekeepers when we pass? Potentially, I'd say not necessarily every case, but when you cross over, you can choose, depending what your soul wants to do, you can choose to come back, not necessarily physically. You can choose to come back and serve as a guide or a main guide, like actually, now this is gatekeeper. Okay, so when you pass, you can come back as a guide to anybody you choose. That's possible. With regards to gatekeeper, I like to assume it works pretty much the same way, even though it's your main guide from birth till death. On an energetic level, you're connected to everyone, everything. So my personal motto is, with energy, all things are possible. Or I should say, with God or source, whatever name you pick, is all things are possible. Energy can manifest and express any way it chooses. Energy doesn't have restrictions. It's not a physical block or a wall. Energy can do it at once. So for me personally, with all the things that are possible, I say with God or source, all things are possible. So manifestation can be done however energy chooses to do that. Shilpa, with regards to Kali and also Shiva, it doesn't matter what names they are. Every being, every deity, every god that we were taught of as we grew up is all connected to the one. When we cross over on the other side, all is one. We're all interconnected on a soul level. Think of it as, there's an old term called the oversoul, and the oversoul is basically the complete collection of all the souls that ever exist all together. It's kind of like a puzzle that you complete. Every single piece of the puzzle fits into one picture, and there is only one. So on that level, on a higher sense, we're all connected. So it doesn't matter what word label you give it. Source energy is source energy, whether you call it God or Shiva. It comes from the same, I was going to say same place, but I should say the same thing, the same source. So you can choose to worship and call whatever you choose to. It's your intention that's important. So we all come from different cultures and backgrounds, but on a soul level, we're from the exact same source of energy. So I hope that clarifies, makes it simple for you, Shopi. Okay, so also when connecting with loved ones, some loved ones come through within weeks or months after passing. Not as common, but it has happened. Some take a couple of years, some take 10 or 20 years. There's no set time. Depending on what God or the divine feels you need to hear and when you need to connect. A loved one can come through sooner, much, much later. There's no set time frame. So if you're trying to connect someone, you can try that through meditation, set a daily intention, put it out there. Everyone on the other side, all your deceased loved ones, receive anything that you send to them or think at them instantly. So you can telepathically think at any departed loved one at any point in time, and they will receive the message instantly. It's just when they reply, we often don't recognize or hear the reply because we're not trained to be psychic. So if you haven't connected with someone and you're wanting to, just set the intention, put it out there every day. But also, once you do that, just be very detached, let go, and don't keep hanging on and waiting. Put your order out there. You told the universe you want to connect with him, her, or whoever, and then you let it go. Divine order decides when it's going to happen, when the connection happens. I'll give you another example. This morning when I had a reading, the person who came to me was hoping to hear from one of two females from their family who hadn't come through, but instead someone else came through from a family that she did not expect or wasn't really wanting to hear from. So you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Your soul gets whatever it needs to get. So you may or may not like it or expect it. The divine decides what you need to hear, when you need to hear it, and who you need to connect with. So just thought that would be helpful to know that as well. Let's see. Shilpi, I have not been to India. I'll say I have not been yet. I wouldn't. It's on my top few countries to visit. So I'll say not yet. I have a couple of friends that have spent a lot of time there. One or two that live there. So I've learned a little bit about what they do. They've had gurus and spent time living in ashrams. One of them still lives there. He's Canadian, but he's been there probably more than 30 years, and that's their life. They stay in the ashram and they just meditate, pray, serve, and once in a while they'll come to Canada for a visit, but haven't been there yet myself. I would love to go, though. I think it's probably a very, very interesting place to visit. There'd be some much to learn from them as well. Countries where people spend a lot of time in meditation and prayer and just living very, very simplistically. Let's see, what else? What other questions do you have? Anything else you can think of? For those of you just jumping on, spiritual development topics. This is a thought exchange, information sharing, and Q&A. So if there's anything you're interested in, I'll try to do my best to answer your questions. And if I can't, I probably know someone who can. So, okay, Diane, you're looking for a link to purchase. Okay, so let me just, there is one on Balboa Press and one on Amazon. So let me see if I can get both sites for you. So the Amazon, depending on where you are if you're in the States or Canada. So I've just posted the one link now. That is the Canadian. Let's see, I'm trying to post, but it's. Let's see. There's also on Balboa, which is a US site. So let's see if that link is going to work for you. Okay, so I've just posted the Balboa link. Depending where you're from, Canada or the US, I don't know which one would be cheaper, but there's also a link on my website. If you go to my book and other interesting reads, there's a link to, I think it's the Balboa site there. But for some reason, the Amazon one is not wanting to let me paste and share. Very strange. Okay, so let's see. Try one more time to post the Amazon one. Okay, there you go. So I've posted the Balboa and the Amazon links. Hope that helps you out. I'm not sure where you're located, Diane, but I also have copies in Brockville, Eastern Ontario, but I'm not sure if you're far from that area. Oh, that's an interesting question, Joanne. Experience telepathy with another human. My initial answer was probably not that I can confirm or be aware of, but sometimes when you have like you pick up the phone and before it has a chance to ring, the other person's done the same thing and they call each other at the same time, and you think it's just by chance, but or you happen to in a way read someone's mind and you just know something, or you've kind of in a way communicated something with each other without saying a word. For me, that's a kind of, to me, that's basically telepathy. I can't say for sure or prove that I've done it, but I've had certain experiences where myself and another have just kind of had an understanding and shared a connection or I don't even know what to call it, without uttering a word. I just don't really recall or remember because, you always doubt, was that just something was just by chance or a fluke? So I can't really recall a specific event, but I think many of us have had kind of like an involuntary experience along those lines. But I would love to do it. I'd love to be able to do it consciously and be aware, like a two-way conversation. I've sat down face to face with a person and we've read each other at the same time, but we didn't really connect with the same information. I was reading that person and they were reading me, but we didn't have a mutual dialogue. We both came up with different things. So I wouldn't call that really a telepathic exchange, but that's my closest kind of, I guess, experience. Not uttering a word and just having an understanding with someone, not knowing really why or how. That's about as close as I've gotten. Okay. What else? So thank you, Diane, about the book. So keep forgetting, I didn't mention that I published a book a few years ago called Simply Spirit, and it's a collection of how my consciousness evolved and developed. At the back of the book, there's also a Q&A section when I was learning to channel and practice asking God all the divine questions and channeling the answers. There's about 30 questions and answers at the back. And the book is one where you can literally start in the middle, the end, or the beginning. Each chapter is a unique topic, so you don't have to read it front to back in order. And it's basically a collection over about a 6-year span of how my consciousness started evolving and developing. So there's channeled parts in it, and then some of it's just my own normal everyday thinking and understanding. So if you're interested, maybe have a look at the reviews. There are 2 books with the same title. Mine is the one with the picture of the sky, the blue sky, and the beach. If you click on one of the 2 links I've just posted, the Balboa or the Amazon, you'll see what the cover looks like. So if that interests you, if you're looking for a spiritual read, it's not a very, very long read, and it's fairly easy to read as well. Or if you're looking for a Christmas gift, maybe take a look. What else? Intuitive Reiki. If you or anybody is interested in Intuitive Reiki, I do offer that as well. And I can do that remotely. It doesn't have to be in person. So I do channel healing energies, Intuitive Reiki. Same with my one-on-one private readings. I do them online via Zoom and over the phone as well. So if that interests you, connect with me and I'll respond within 24 hours. Same goes with mentoring. I can do that online too. I love to teach and mentor. Probably as much as I like to read people, read their energies. And if you look on my website, there'll be a tab that says my book and other interesting reads. It's got my favorite books, most insightful, favorite, and enjoyable books I've ever read that helped me a lot. My top one is probably, I'd say, the trilogy of Conversations with God, Neale Donald Walsch. Eckhart Tolle, very, very close second. Eckhart Tolle is also one of my faves. There's a few others. I like Abraham Hicks material, also the videos. There's lots of fantastic resources online today. Fortunately for us, there's lots of good things. Okay, good, Joanne. Good question. What opinion do you have on psychedelics? Have you experimented? So I have had just a little bit of experience. I've tried what you call gummies a few times. So smoking, any form of smoking has never worked for me. I don't enjoy it. I've tried smoking a little bit of pot on couple of occasions. I mean, it worked. I did it when I was 20 years old. It had the right effect, but I found it burnt my insides and my throat. And then I tried it again a couple of years ago. Anything that needs to be smoked doesn't work for me personally, but the effects, it still had an effect. With the gummies, I inadvertently took too much and didn't realize it. I took one, waited a bit, felt nothing, took another one. I thought, oh, not doing much. So I ended up taking 3 of them. And of course, 45 minutes later, they kick in. And I was what some people were describing as greening out. So, okay, you're looking more psychedelic. Sorry, I guess that's weed is not really psychedelic. LSD or shrooms. Okay, so LSD or shrooms. I definitely haven't tried LSD. Wait a minute, hang on. So LSD, I did try a microdose. I mean, extremely small dose of, I think it was LSD, but it was such a tiny dose. It was the first time I've ever taken it, so I didn't want to. I was very cautious, so I took a very small dose, and I found it. The effect was very gradual, and it was so subtle. I didn't realize it kick in until hours later. All it did for me was that particular day I was very anxious and uptight and not feeling great energetically, and it relaxed me totally. It was very, very calming. I haven't had any hallucinatory experiences, but I haven't taken enough for that. So I've never taken a strong dose. So I've never really hallucinated. I've taken more very tiny amounts because I have a little bit of I'm very cautious about losing control of myself and my actions and what I do. So I've only really microdosed a couple of times and had very minor effects. So other than just relaxing and feeling slowed down, some of my friends have reported very, very good, helpful experiences. A friend of mine said that a psychedelic is what opened him up and got him connected to source. It was a very, very powerful, helpful experience. So I think if done in the right way, it can be a very, very useful tool. As long as you don't become dependent on it to connect. So I'd say to get you started, if done in the right way, it can be very, very helpful to open you up, open your third eye, help you connect. But I think it's also better to eventually wean off and be able to do it naturally. But like once in a while, I don't see anything wrong with it. It is natural. It's herbal. Medicine men and women and shamans used it, and whoever else. So I think if it's like anything, if you use it the right way, it can be very effective. You've just got to respect the herb or whatever it is you're taking. So I hope that's helps enough, explains enough. So for me personally, I kind of just like to use my willpower and my mind. It takes a bit longer and it's a bit tougher, but that's just the way I like to do it. A lot of my friends like to, I shouldn't say a lot of them, some of them like to use LSD, and if they find it helpful, great, and they don't do it often. So, nothing wrong with that. I just don't think it should be something that you need to rely on each and every time you want to connect on that kind of level. So I'll just stop blabbing about that. So was that, I don't know if that fully answers your question, Joanne, or if you want to dive in a bit more and get into more detail. Like a few of my friends do shrooms and rare occasion a bit of LSD, and they find it helps very well, but they're open, they're connected, they're very aware, so they know how and when to use it, and they do it sparingly, not often. So, it works for them. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. See what you mean. Okay. Yeah. That's so if you sometimes fear can get in the way. For me, it sounds like it was more of fear that was causing a bit of apprehension, or especially if you're not sort of very spiritually open-minded. If you're very more black and white and closed off, I can see how that would be difficult, having a telepathic connection with someone who is spiritually open. It has a lot to do with your subconscious beliefs, your programming, all that stuff that we're not aware of on a conscious level. So if you had done it maybe with someone else, it could have been a totally different experience. Okay. So what I do know with LSD, it can open you up so much. You can connect and travel and do things that you haven't dreamed of, that you couldn't think possible. So our capabilities are far beyond what we actually can even imagine. Okay, Susie's question: do you think time travel exists? Okay, so basically, yes. And I'm going to use this analogy. I love this analogy. If you look at a vertical line with the starting point being 0, or say the day you were born. Actually, so the day you were born, you could say it starts on one end of the line, which you would label as the past. And then in the middle of that horizontal line would be present moment, which is right now, where you are right now. And then at the other end of the line would be what you would call, say, the future. So you've got past, present, future, and along that whole line would be all the experiences you ever had, are having, and ever will have. So if you take that horizontal line and you move it up vertically, your past, present, and future is all on that line vertically in this present moment. Everything is right now. So it's a bit tricky to wrap your head around, but everything you have, are, and will be doing has already happened. It's all in the now. Linear time is a human construct. It's what our brains need to kind of put things in place, compartmentalize, and understand things. So when you time travel, you're literally just jumping from one degree of awareness to a different degree of awareness. So you can go from now into the future, and all you're doing is becoming more aware of whatever already is. So if you think of time, linear time not existing, everything is right now, you can just bounce from this much awareness to that much awareness. You're just tapping into more of what already exists. So I hope that kind of makes sense the way I'm explaining it. So when you time travel, you're not necessarily going backwards or forwards. You're just opening up more of the gift bag or more of your consciousness, and you're just being you could also look at it as remembering more of what you already know in the first place. So your soul has always known everything there ever is to know. When you incarnate, you forget most of it and you start again in human form, and you slowly remember all the bits and pieces of everything through all your lifetimes. So all you're doing is reconnecting with everything you already know and are a part of. So I hope that makes sense. If not, let me know, and I'll just try and figure out another way of expressing that. Okay. So Shilpi, with regards to seeing numbers, spiritual numbers, angel numbers, are often used as confirmation for us, just to either let us know we're on track or give us a specific message. 1111, for example, is a very, very positive, reaffirming spiritual number. I forget the exact detailed meaning of it. You can Google the spiritual meaning of whether it's 1111 or 333 or 4444, and you'll get a few very varying interpretations. And what I recommend is looking at all of them and picking out the ones that are common in most of the interpretations and taking that meaning for yourself. I have a particular chart of ancient numbers, but they're only the triplicates. So 111, 222 up until 999. And for me, they have a certain meaning, but that's just one interpretation. So 333 could mean one thing to me and a different thing to you. You go with what resonates for you. But they're just one of the tools, same as dimes and feathers, guides leaving signs on billboards or songs appearing on the radio that just resonate with you and remind you of something or give you a message. Angel numbers are just used to get your attention and to either help you course correct or tell you what to focus on or validate something. So you don't really have to necessarily do anything, depending on the number and the meaning. It could just be reaffirming, validation, or tell you what to be focusing on. Okay. So great questions. Very good questions. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if I can think of anything else. While you're thinking of any questions, I'm also just wondering if there's any other topics that would be of interest to some of you. Something useful or empowering to get you going. Okay, so if you are interested in connecting more with spirit, i.e. meditation will be one option. If you're not sure how to get started, you could also experiment with tools of divination, which means angel cards, oracle cards. If you're really up for it, tarot, crystals, pendulums, even psychometry, and using tools to kind of get you started if you're drawn to that. Some people are phenomenal with tools, rune stones, whatever the case. It's just certain things are meant to resonate with you, some are not. So if you find tools helpful, I'd say at least experiment with them for a bit. Try out a few different things. I've tried cards, crystals, pendulums. I've worked with psychometry. I've tried to learn tarot. Me and tarot will probably never be friends in this lifetime. It actually gets in my way. It blocks me, I find. Tarot is more of a, it's like part of it's like a story you've got to learn and study and understand. I find angel and oracle cards are much easier to use. They're more open and open to interpretation. I find them to be more flexible for me personally. But to each their own. Every person is different. So try a few tools to see what they do for you. It's good to find out what works and what doesn't work for you. Sometimes holding objects in your hand or photographs and feeling them or holding them to help you read energy, to practice reading energy can help, especially heirlooms that belonged to handed down in generations. There's all kinds of tools you can use. So yeah, basically experiment and explore. That's the best way to do it. And sometimes you'll find cards may work with you for a while, and then you may end up switching to something else. So I say go with what feels right until it doesn't feel right anymore, and then find the next thing. Everybody's so unique. You can't really say what's the best tool and how long it's going to work for you. You've just got to experiment and go with what you're drawn to. It's kind of like when you're working with mentors, mediums, you'll work with one for a while and you'll reach a point where you've learned everything you can from them, or you just find you're done with them and you need to move on to a different medium or a different mentor, because no right or wrong. It's just we need to exchange energy with other beings. So just the way it goes. It's all about energy exchange, knowing when to move on, when you're stagnating, trusting your gut. Okay. While I remember, please, if you could also share on your social media platforms about the Sunday lives as well. I'd like to also grow this group a lot bigger and get more participation and reach people all over the globe, just like the Thursday live. So if you know anyone who has questions, just looking for some help or some guidance, maybe let them know about the Sunday lives. They could even watch the replays, the YouTube replays, and they might pick up some information they were looking for by watching the lives. Same goes with the Thursdays. If they want to experience how I work with channeling live messages from Spirit on Thursdays, they can watch incognito. If they don't really want to be seen or post comments, they can just watch sort of invisibly and see how it goes. Some people are on the fence and they're not sure if they're fully on board or not, so totally understandable. So there are some people that don't have anybody to relate to or talk to or ask these kind of questions to. And if they're not fully comfortable coming out into the open, they're welcome to watch me and either comment and join in or just watch, invisibly and just see how it works. Or they could just look at the reviews, maybe look at my book and see if that resonates with them, just get a feel of whether they think that'll help them as well. There's some good information in my book. I've had lots of positive feedback from it. Okay, Shilpi, so your comment about if something interests you but you don't want to learn them, I'm not saying it's the case with you, but sometimes it's just fear kicks in a little bit and it just holds you back to protect you. Some people have expressed to me concerns about losing themselves if they go too deep down the rabbit hole, if they get too involved in this, they're worried that they will forget who they really are and what their beliefs are. But my recommendation is if it interests you, go with it until you feel like a break. You can always take a break and stop and leave it, because every now and then you need to assimilate the information you get. And a lot of the information can be very, very overwhelming, especially if it's in sharp contrast to what you were taught growing up. Me, for example, I was born and raised Catholic, so very black and white, pretty rigid, judgmental. So when I had first discovered the realms of spirit, I was dealing with a physical trance medium, and I was asking questions, and he would reply and give me answers. And then he responded with answering some of my questions, and the information I got was a bit much for me. I couldn't really handle it, and I didn't like what I was learning. So I shut down for a couple of weeks, and I just stopped the communication. It was a bit of overload for me. Thank God, I don't know what made me reconnect, but I reconnected with him and I settled down and I continued down the rabbit hole and learned more and more, which I'm very grateful for. And now it's like totally normal for me. So I did have fear as well, and it did kick in and try and hold me back. And it was just doing its job. It just wanted to protect me and keep me and my childhood beliefs safe and secure. But you do it in phases. So you do what's comfortable for you, and when you need a break, you stop, because sometimes it takes a while to assimilate new information, especially if it's very, very different from what you grew up with and what you were taught. And if that's the case, you do what works for you. Don't overload yourself and don't push yourself. You just go at a comfortable pace. That's the best way to go. So there's no forced marches. There's no specific way, or you have to do it this way. You do what's comfortable for you, and when you need a break, you take a break. Same with meditation. Sometimes after a while meditating, you get sick and tired, and you need a rest, and you just kind of fall away from it a while, and then you kind of jump back on when you feel the need. So you go at a comfortable pace. That's the best way to do it. Okay. Okay. Thanks for joining us again, Joanne, and see you next time. Thank you for the questions. Charlene, okay, yeah, you were talking about some sort of proof. Is there, okay, when you say proof, is there something specific, like, for example, do you want proof of reincarnation, or are you looking for a proof of some other information? So if you can be more specific, if possible, feel free to share that. And as for the Thursday lives, unfortunately, I'm in Canada, so Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock is unfortunately the best time that I can do that at. But The replays, I guess you can't participate if you're watching the replays. All you can do is watch. But Thursdays, unfortunately, is the best possible time that I can do that on. So for people in other countries, unfortunately, the time difference can be challenging. And also, Shilpi, thank for your question about astrology. Unfortunately, that's one of the things that I have not studied. So I don't know much about Indian astrology or even Western astrology. That's something I haven't studied in. But I'd say maybe try and research, particularly for you that's interested in Indian astrology. Try and Google research someone that specializes with astrological charts, particularly Indian astrology, and see if you can find someone you resonate with or are drawn to. But unfortunately, I don't know anything about Manushya Gan or astrology. That's one of the areas, same as tarot, that I do not work with. So unfortunately, I can't answer that one for you. Okay. Etty Bitton, your dreams. Okay. So dreams are something, a dream interpretation is something you can work on and develop. You can use specific meditations that are specifically designed for you to listen to before you go to sleep that will help you enhance your ability to remember more of the dream and to learn more about interpretation of symbols that you get in dreams. So whether it's a dream or messages you get while you're awake during your everyday waking state, you can learn through meditation, specific meditations on dream interpretation. So there are probably millions of meditations online, and dreams are a very good way of learning. It's the best time for your guides to try and reach you because your eyes are closed, you're sleeping, you're not listening to external noises, you're not visually looking at things. So all your physical senses are at rest and you're not distracted. That's why guides try to come through to us during the dream state. It's the best chance they have to reach us. So if you just practice specifically setting the intention before you go to sleep, and you have to do it for consistently for a length of time, where you can ask to remember your dreams, write down what you remember you've dreamt the next morning. As soon as you are awake, write down whatever you can remember. And the more you practice doing that, the more you will write down and recall. And then you can meditate on the information and ask for clarification on what the symbols mean. So, Etty, you can absolutely do that. It just takes effort and practice. Same with connecting with your spirit guides and receiving messages. It works the same way. You've just got to practice, practice, practice. Okay. Some people have it naturally and it comes easier, but for most of us, even myself, I find it's something you have to really work on. Okay. Okay. Okay, Charlene, proof of connection. Proof of connection. So, for example, Charlene, if you had to get a psychic reading, there's a lot of different mediums on different levels and of ability. But basically, what was proof for me is when I met a few very, very good mediums in my early years, as soon as they started telling me things that there's no way they could have known, there's no way that anybody would have known that was proof enough for me that they were getting that information from somewhere other than physical people. So if it's a really good medium that can answer personal questions or confirm, kind of like when you get a private reading, if they get a loved one and they describe that person accurately and give you validation that you have no doubt that they are connecting with a person you know, for me, that would be proof. So either proof of a loved one, or it could also be proof when they know information about you personally that there's no way they could possibly know. So when I had readings, I had a medium that told me and my spouse at the time exactly how old we were, exactly how many years we were married. They knew things that were too specific. There's no way that, and this was someone, I moved from another country to Canada. So This was someone I'd never seen or met before. They knew nothing about me, and they were able to just connect and tell me personal information about myself that there's no way they would possibly know, because I'd never said anything or had never even met them. So for me, when I meet people like that, to me, it's proof enough that they're getting that information from a much higher source that's not coming from a human being. So I hope that helps you answer your question. For example, with private readings, when you're connecting with a medium, sometimes they get a connection with one of your spirit guides that shares the information. Sometimes angels come through and give the information. Sometimes deceased loved ones come through and give you information or give the medium information. And other times, the medium can get it directly off your energy field. So it can come from an external source, like a deceased person or a guide, or a medium can pick it up directly from your electromagnetic field, like your aura or your own energy. It can be any one of those combinations. That's how I work. I can get it from any one of those sources. That's how it works with me. So great question, by the way. So sometimes your guides help you, sometimes a departed loved one, sometimes your own energy is speaking to a medium and revealing certain things and information. Okay. And sometimes you may feel a change of temperature, like Shilpi, you were asking. Sometimes if you feel the shiver or you get goosebumps on your skin, or if you feel warmth or a light, almost like a breeze or a touch on your skin or your head or your hair, that can also be a sign that either a loved one or a guide is around. Sometimes they like to get your attention that way. Okay. And Etty, with your comment, you remember 95% of your dreams, which is exceptional. It's fantastic that you remember that much. I don't remember I hardly remember my dreams at all. For me, that doesn't really work well. I don't practice it, but 95% is very high. Okay, and yes, sometimes the message you won't understand right away or the next day. Sometimes it takes a few days, sometimes a few weeks, or even a few months before something clicks into place, and then you just understand at that time. It works the same when I give private readings. When I share the information, some of it they understand right away. Sometimes bits of information will make sense to the client further in the future, either long term or short term. It could be weeks, months, years. It's always different. And yes, sometimes if you hear your name or things are moving or noises are happening in your house, but there's no one physically around, that's usually spirit. And they're just looking to either communicate with you, get your attention, and yep. So spirit can manipulate physical matter. They can affect physical things, lights going on and off, objects being moved or misplaced. They'll try anything they can to get your attention. Okay. So we've had some fantastic questions tonight. So I'm just going to stay on for another quick minute or two. So if anyone has any last minute questions, okay, Shilpi. Okay, Shilpi, thanks for your questions. So just post in the comments. So private one-on-one reading is 140. Intuitive Reiki is 110. That's more for energy healing. So thank you for the question. And if you need more information, my website I posted near the top of the comments. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about me, just click on my website link and it'll give you more info on how I connect and how I do what I do. Also on my YouTube channel, there's a video, an interview video of me. It's usually the one that's pinned at the top and it's got some music playing. That is a detailed interview that was done, and it explains in my own words how I do what I do, how it works with me, how my abilities work, and how they came to be. So it's between 5-7 minutes long, roughly. So maybe take a look at that if it interests you. It explains a lot about how I came to do what I do. Thank you for the excellent questions tonight. And again, hope you connect again either on Facebook on Thursdays or on next Sunday on YouTube again. If you come up with any questions during the week, maybe write them down for next time. Thank you for your participation. So I'll just stay on another 1 minute or so. Okay, so Shopi, you're never disturbing souls when you call them. The only time I'd say is if you're calling them every day, and kind of really attaching to them and pushing and pushing. Normally, there's no problem whatsoever. So you do not disturb souls, especially when you're just asking for help or guidance or connection. You don't disturb them. Usually, souls love to be of service and to help you. So you do not disturb them. The only time it can sometimes be a bit of a block or a disruption is if you are calling them all the time, every day, day after day after day, meaning you're getting too attached to them and you're not letting that go. That's the only time where it could potentially be a little bit of a block. But for the most part, no, you don't disturb them. Susie, as for me, I haven't had any physical objects moving. Maybe the occasional very subtle sound. Usually I don't have any issues. Like I don't mind spirits in my house. I usually often don't even detect them. Usually they are benevolent, well-meaning. They're usually positive. So I have always just set the intention. If they come with good intentions or love, they're welcome to hang around. I don't pay them attention or try to tap in. If they need to reach me, they're welcome to do so. Any positive energy is welcome to linger around in my space. I occasionally light a bit of sage and smudge. So for the most part, the energy around my place is very, very comfortable and good. And I've never had any hassles or problems with disruptions or things moving. So it's very, very peaceful in my place personally. So I'm quite lucky with that. How to let loved ones go. All you need to do with loved ones is once in a while, you can just send them prayers or love. You don't have to do anything specific. As long as you don't remain in constant grief and constant mourning for the loss all the time, ongoing. As long as you can make peace with where they are, and once in a while send them a prayer or send them some love, that's all you need to do. It's very, very easy. So I hope that helps you out. Okay, and again, thank you for joining in on the live, your participation. Hopefully with just like with the lives, with time, we can grow the group much bigger and hopefully get a lot more participation and questions. But like I said, this has only been going a month, so I'm pretty happy with it so far. We've had some good questions. And again, if you think of anything during the week, just make a note of it. So hope to see some of you next Sunday and or on Thursday lives if you like. And if you'd like to know more about me and my offerings, just check out my website on the link on the in the comments. If there's anything else you can think of, or I can think of, I think that's it for now. So I'm doing my best to get on social media twice a week now, like Facebook and YouTube. Do my best with that. And if you know anyone who needs some help, needs some questions answered, needs a reading or a healing, send them my way. I love doing this stuff. So until next time, thanks for joining in. I'm going to sign off now. So have a happy evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. And thanks again for joining in and sharing. So have a good night and bye for now.